Welcome to episode 102 of the Game Changers. I am your host, Carla, and tonight I'm turning up the heat with the brilliant Joey Wright. Joey doesn't just know the game, he reads the plays before they happen, and we're about to pull back the curtain on the game behind the game. Big love to the TSA team for fueling this mission of amplifying voices and sparking ideas. This show exists because of visionaries like them and listeners like you. If you want fantasy football gold, perspective shifting stories, or a fresh way to see the world, you're in the right place. The Game Changers isn't just a podcast, it is a movement. Let's get into it. So who is Joey Wright? And I knew today that he have Joey, Joe Michael, Joseph Michael, which is my son's name. So I love him more. So my guest tonight is one of the most creative and community driven voices in the fantasy football. Joey entered the industry in 2021 after competing in the Razzball in 2020. And since then, he's worked with Razzball, Front Yards Fantasy, and Football Guys. At Razzball, he wrote the waiver wire column before moving to a Front Yard Fantasy, where he co-hosts the fantasy football game show and launched the comedy advice series starts, sits, and salutations. Currently, Joey serves as the community ambassador of Football Guys, hosting fan favorite shows like Trivia Night Live, Sunday a Morning Live, and the Football Guys Home League Show. His most recent article even highlighted how fantasy football became a team building platform for the Broadway cast of Wicked, a perfect reflection of his love for both football and theater. Outside the industry, Joey is a proud husband and a father of two daughters, living just outside Orlando, Florida. When he's not talking football, you will find him at the movies or curating his massive collection of over 1,500 films, a lifelong Broadway enthusiast and former theater kid. Joey brings humor, heart, creativity, and a true passion for community to everything he does. Please help me welcome the Game Changers pod, Joey Wright. Hi, Joey. How are you tonight?
I'm great. That intro was so beautiful. It's like I wrote it for no, I didn't. No, like thank you so much. Like all those things are wonderful. That you said. Like I don't know.
Are
It was
all of
nice
it.
hearing all those things. I don't know. It was like a little this is your
You
life
are
moment.
all of them, Joey. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is
Thank you
such
for
an
having
honor
me.
for
This is
me.
great.
Of course. I just want to start with something, and I know that a lot of people know that I don't play, but I got my goat gift, which is really really great. I'm so excited, and this gift is from Marcus and Tara. I met them at the expo this year. They own the Crowned Champs. You can see it on social media, or you can find Marcus and Tara on social media. And I'm gonna have the honor as well to have them on the show at some point. So let's talk about you, Joey. What
Okay.
first pulled you into fantasy football enough to enter the Raz Bowl in 2020?
Yeah, I have always loved fantasy football since I started playing. My group of friends, we've known since we were 16, decided to start a league together. And, every year it seemed like I wanted to pull one more wrinkle in. I would always be pushing for new settings like, hey, let's get a second league going. Let's do a keeper league. And it just, I was kind of the one that was most obsessed with it. And that kind of led me to look at, okay, are there any other people out here that are like me? And I found like a whole community. And before I even joined the community, I found the Raz Bowl was the first industry tournament. I submitted a entry and they accepted it. And at that time, I didn't know they'll pretty much accept anybody, which is great because I love inclusivity. But I didn't know that. So I was super excited and I put everything I had into it to try to win it. And I did so good. I got to the final week and then fell flat on my face. And
Oh,
I could have just fallen flat on my face and just been humble about it. But I
Yeah.
decided to have fun with it. I was over dramatic and I was, going, sending them videos and stuff. And at the end of the season, they were like, dude, you're really funny, man. Like maybe we should work together. And so that's kind of how I got into the industry. Uh,
Nice.
just kind of by being myself.
Of course. I mean, you need to be yourself to get places. If you're not yourself, like people will not know the real you, which is really amazing. How did competing in the Raz Bowl shape your confidence to join the industry in 2021?
Um, I don't want to lie and say that I like, oh, because I got so close to winning, I thought I could do it.
Yeah,
It was just, Gray and Donkey Teeth over there at Rasball. They kind of saw it in me that like this guy's pretty funny, and they asked if I had any writing experience. And I used to be a film critic, so I sent them a few of my film articles, and they were like, "Hey, man, you should come write for us." And I wrote a couple preseason articles, and then they were giving out assignments, and they said, "Hey, you should take the waiver wire article." And I'd like to say that I had the confidence at that time, but it was really just them kind of seeing what I had and believing in me and my voice and the unique, things that I would bring to it. And
yeah.
yeah, so at that time, it's funny. I think I'm kind of a confident person now, but at that time, I was quite meek and mild, I would say.
Did you ever realize that like fantasy football could become your professional lane?
Never, it would never occur to me that it would be a real job until later on, a couple years down the road, until I met the crew over at Football Guys, and to some extent at Front Yard Fantasy. But yeah, I never thought it would be my full-time job. I just thought it'd be something creative, like an outlet that I could do, maybe write a few articles here and there. um yeah, and we'll get into like why it's my full-time job and why someone like me has a full-time job in this industry, because i I don't think I'm a
Not many people do.
unicorn in a confident way. I think I'm a unicorn in a way that's given me opportunity. I'll go into it later, but we'll get to that.
I love that. I love that, Joey. So you started with Rasball at
Mhm.
first, and then you transitioned to Front Yard Fantasy
Yes.
after the 2021 season. So how did this transition go from Rasball to Front Yard Fantasy?
Well, it was pretty natural. Like I went to my first expo and I knew nobody, and ended up, I think the first person I talked to was Simon Grunewald from Front Yard Fantasy, and Simon now is like a brother to me. And then JL Garofalo, Jay Felicio, everyone I worked with there over there at Front Yard Fantasy. We did the game show together. Andrew Cooper worked with us for a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, those guys just they made the transition easy. And I talk about being meek and mild in the beginning. I was always like a theater kid, but never, I would say, had the confidence to do like new things. And when I got to Front Yard Fantasy, I give him a lot of crap, but JL Garofalo never stopped pushing, and he still doesn't. He's still, because I'm still part of Front Yard Fantasy. He never stopped pushing me in anything I would do. We'll talk about starts and salutations, but that was a big moment for me when I wanted to try something, and JL just didn't say no. He just said, this is your thing, you do it, make it
yeah.
your own. And anything I wanted to try, he was open to. And if he thought it was a bad idea, he would let me know. And then I would tell him, you don't know what comedy is, I do. But no, it was good that I got pushed. And had he not been doing that and had a supportive team like Jay Felicio, uh, you know, I would send him clips of the jokes and he'd be like, oh, dude, this is hilarious. This is working, or maybe this isn't working so well. And then Simon just loved everything. I probably shouldn't have sent anything to Simon for feedback because he was just too kind about everything. But you need those
Aw,
people in your corner too. But no, I mean, those guys, they gave me the confidence I would need to push forward. And so, but
I
yeah, doing the
love
game
it.
show with them, getting screen time, just internally grateful to them.
So what surprised you most about the culture at Front Yard Fantasy when you joined?
Um, that's a great question. What surprised me, I think, was when we're on camera, we're very cut loose. We're having a good time. We're making people feel welcome. Um, very, we enjoyed each other's company, but behind the scenes, I would say,
Yeah,
very focused in what we were doing. It, which is crazy to say because we were doing a game show, but like down to the craft of the hosting and the creating of the games. Like while the questions were fun, like we were seriously thinking like, how can we take this one question, make it entertaining, make it about football, and add aspects all around it to make it the best possible question. So, people see the finished product, but the work that went into it, I think that was what surprised me, is like the actual care and craft that goes into every decision that was made there.
And when did you feel, okay, I'm officially part of the industry right now?
Today, probably. I think imposter syndrome
What?
is such a real thing. Um, no, I don't. I'm just happy to be here, and I try to just be as humble as I can, and I've got good people in my life that'll put me in check if I ever step out of line too much. But no, I mean, like, I I think this community is very inclusive, and I think there are
Yeah, I
great people.
agree.
We'll probably talk about Scott Fish a little bit. Um,
Definitely.
I like to say anything Scott has done, I just kind of look at and I'm like, okay, that's what I probably should be doing, following his example.
I love that.
I work with Joe Bryant, and I don't know if there's a better example of a human being um, that I've had in
Oh,
my life in the industry. And just looking at what Joe does, kindness first, focusing on the home league. Um, yeah, I mean, if I belong, yeah, I think I belong, but I think that's just because of the community that we have that I belong.
I love that, Joey. I love it so much. I'm gonna cut short because I
Mhm.
did see something here. Bob Hope
Uh-oh.
is asking if you can you see it as well? He's
Mhm.
asking a question, and if you can answer that for him, that would be really nice, Joey.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard pressed for me. I know he's had a really rough run of late. Do you need two, or do you just need one? Okay, so you have two questions here. I will go Jacoby Myers. Think he's connecting with Trevor Lawrence on a very real level. I kind of like the Jags rest of the season schedule. They're looking like they're putting it together. So let's go Jacoby Myers there. And then, even though I'm a Bucks fan, and you would think I would say Emeka Ibuka, I'm going to go Jawan Jennings. I love that 49ers rest of season schedule. So it might be kind of a hot take coming off that bye, but I'll start Jawan Jennings over Ibuka this week. And hopefully I don't have to turn in my Buccaneers fandom.
And Alan is asking where your love of trivia come from.
Where does my love of trivia come from? All It's a two-parter. I always kind of liked Jeopardy when I was growing up. I always kind of liked to know little behind the scenes thing. I mean, you see all these movies back here. Yeah, I have the movies, but included in those films, there's lots of special features behind the scenes, like little movie facts.
Yeah,
I always kind of had that in me. And then I think meeting Simon at Front Yard Fantasy, he has a love of trivia greater than I do. And I think he really helped unlock that and learn how to channel it. But that's kind of where my love of trivia comes from.
nice. I love that. So let's continue with your professional
Hmm.
contribution and what happened next. Because I'm really eager to know about Wicked at some point. So
Talk about it.
what's a risk, Joey, that didn't work out, and what did it teach you in this industry?
What risk did I take and it didn't work out? Okay,
Yes.
and this company's not around anymore, so I can kind of say something
Okay.
about them. And it's not a bad company, but there was a company that I did contract work for.
Yes.
I don't want to give the name out because that's not fun. But
It's okay.
um,
You don't have to.
at the time, I was just kind of saying yes to everything, and I don't
Yes.
think necessarily that's a bad thing to be a yes man. But I probably should have not said yes to this company. And it was a learning experience. I got there, I wasn't treated well. Payments never showed up. And I kind of learned a little bit of self worth at that time, just to be like, there were some warning signs there. Maybe I should say no sometimes. I don't think saying yes is bad, but sometimes maybe you say no. So I took a risk by having a pretty nice reputation at that time and
Yeah.
letting that reputation go out with that company. And they did their darndest to try to tarnish it a little bit, but I think I pulled back enough to where I was able to save face. But yeah, just learning to maybe do a little more research into saying yes before I say yes sometimes.
Saying no. Yeah,
I
I agree with
navigated
you
that legally as
100%.
best I
I'm a
could.
yes person too. I'm learning to say no. It's so hard when you want to please everybody and then you start saying no. It's really
Yeah.
hard. So I'm there with you, Joey. I'm really there with you. So I understand. So how do you balance credibility with entertainment in your brand?
That's a great question. So there are two things I think I do that are entertaining
Yes.
on a pretty normal basis. I don't do starts and citations so much anymore. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't do it at all anymore. I don't know if it's run its course. I just stopped being motivated to do it. I used to do a series where I would go out into nature and I'd give fantasy advice and talk to animals, or I'd go to the zoo and I like to talk to animals a lot, to be honest. A
Why
couple
not?
times I went out live and talked to people. So I brought a lot of creative energy there. Um, and then I would also do the March Madness videos for football guys. And what was the question again? I just kept talking about myself there.
It's okay. So, how do you balance credibility with
Oh,
entertainment in your brand?
so I never do anything that I think that would hurt my reputation. There have been times that I've wanted to make like a joke that's maybe a little off course,
Yes.
and I have to kind of reel back and just say, like, is that the best representation I've won of myself? And I think my asking myself that question so often to be like, maybe I shouldn't go that far with a joke, or I shouldn't put that in a video, kind of lends itself for me having that credibility, that to being able to trust that. I like to think that if you take any of my videos, you could show your kids and they would there's one joke I made you probably can't show your kids. Other than that one thing, but see, that was a learning experience for me then too, is it wasn't worth that joke, even though it's a really great soundbite. It wasn't worth that one joke to not be able to show my kids that one clip. Um, so we make mistakes in the things we do, but yeah, like I always like to just think that the stuff I'm putting out, we could show your family if we wanted to.
I love that. Do you do dad jokes, Joey, or you just do your own jokes? What kind of jokes you share?
You know, I just kind of do my own thing. You know, I grew up watching SNL and being
Yes. Oh
inspired
my
by
God.
sketch comedy, and so I think my comedy has, in my mind, it runs a short course to begin with. Um,
Yes.
but no, I never try to. I like to parody. I don't like to really try to be like anybody, though, if that makes any sense at all.
It's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I hope I've been like trying 3 years to put my name to go and watch SNL live. I'm they never called me.
If I told you
I'm
how
not
long I've
happy
been on
with
the
that.
lottery list, it's
I'm not happy with that.
it's
But
it's
yeah,
really tough to get in. The best way
it's
to get
all
into
because of
SNL,
Doug. Yeah. It's all I never knew about SNL before. 3 years now. 3 years. Like we don't miss it every single Saturday.
I'll
I
tell
love it.
you the best way to get to a live taping is to go to a dress rehearsal. A
Yeah.
lot easier to get tickets for that, and you'll see the same show. You'll actually get more because they'll cut sketches before it goes to air. But standby is probably the easiest way to get in with SNL these days. I've been on the list for over 20 years now, since I was a senior in high school and I turned 18 and I could put my name on the list. I've gotten called one time and I wasn't able to get up to New York for it. But yeah.
I wish you gave it to me, Joy.
Yeah. No,
I know.
I was like 26 when I got the email that said, "Hey,
Wow.
you have a pass for this date," and didn't go. Rushing. Didn't have the money at the time.
This is the second person I think they told me that they got into SNL and they never went
Yeah,
because of something happened. It's crazy.
but I've had a
I
lot of friends that have just stood in the standby line and they've gotten in. So,
wow. Yeah,
yep.
cool. Um, which milestone for you felt like a true game changer for your career?
When I got hired by football guys.
Yeah.
I
Why?
loved Rasball and I loved Front Yard Fantasy. Um,
Yes.
but there's a reputation that comes with football guys. And I think that reputation is pretty strong. And it's one of the more well-known companies. And when I got hired by them, that felt like I really did something. And it's funny, I got hired around this time. Was it I've been there 4 years now.
Wow.
And I was employed for about 5 days. And then Joe, our founder, said, "Hey, we're having our company retreat in Las Vegas. Do you want to come out to it?" And I hadn't done a lick of work for the company by this point. And they flew me out there. And when I walked into the room and with all these analysts and people that I'd looked up to, and they were so warm and welcoming to me as the new guy who have not written a single, even a roundtable contribution yet, but just like, I'm a
Wow.
new member of the team. I'm going to be with you guys now. It felt different. Like, oh wow, okay, it's my first time going to Vegas. Um, you know, these are analysts that people pay to, a subscription for. It felt like something very different. that was kind of when I felt like, not that I arrived, but it just like it was a milestone that was pretty big.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you would be proud to see yourself at that place, which is really amazing. You work your whole life to get there, and you are there. And you
Thanks.
were saying that, not many people get a full-time job in this industry, and you're one of the people that got that full-time job. What's one misconception people have about getting into fantasy media?
Um, that all. Ooh, okay. Here, this is. I will say the most successful people in
Yes.
fantasy media, 10% you see.
Yeah.
The full time people, the most successful, the 90% you don't see is where all the hard work is. Um, I feel pretty confident in saying that, and where I'm at now. I have 3 shows that I do, and a lot of work goes into them behind the scenes, but you know, when you're trying to launch a show or you have an article, the promotion you put into it, the research you do into it. I
Yeah.
think anyone getting into media just thinks you could turn on a camera and go. And I'm fortunate in a lot of my shows, that's kind of what I get to do. Where, like when I do trivia, like, okay, I write 15 trivia questions and I'm ready to go. We are, we got Alfredo Brown and Dave Kluge, when they do that fantasy football show for football guys, there's hours of research that goes into them just being able to come on and talk. So I think people might have a misconception that it's just easy to get on and start talking about football. No, you kind of know your stuff.
Yeah, 100%. How did the idea for start, sits, and salutations come to life?
I love talking about this because I was on a show recently and the host said, I think it's the most Joey Wright thing of all the Joey Wright things I've seen. Um, I literally said to JL Garofalo at Front Yard Fantasy, hey, I've got an idea. I want to go to the park. And I brought my best friend who I've known since I was 17 years old. And we grew up loving Saturday Night Live together. And he's the cameraman. He's the guy behind the camera. If you've ever watched the Starts and Citations, it's talking to me and I talk to him. A lot of it's improv. My friend and I write the jokes on the spot. And the idea was just like kind of born out of him and I just hanging out for 15 years before we ever actually got in front of a camera, and
Wow.
just me being myself. But like the SNL stuff is so huge. Like, I think if you had to go watch, like, what's the biggest inspiration? There's one skit called Happy Easter, Michael Keaton. And it's just Michael Keaton sitting in a chair and he just pulls an item and he just has a little joke with it. And it's such an easy basis where I would give a start, I would do a joke, and then I would connect it to a start, or I would do a joke, connect it to a sit. And at first, the character didn't have a voice. And then somebody said in a video, in a comment, like, oh, the voice you did in that one part was kind of funny. And that's all I needed to hear. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take that and I'll put that voice behind it in every episode now. So the inspiration came from like, growing up and everything, but it kind of came from people giving me a little feedback too. I don't think it
Yes.
really took off though until I went to Expo. When I went to Expo and I got to actually pull people in the frame with me, um, I mean, I to this day say me interviewing Joe Bryant character is why I got the job at football. I mean, there was people that definitely, Dave Kluge, Alfredo Brown, Jeff Bell, that put their name on the line to say, Joey's a really great guy. He'd be a great addition to the team. But if you go watch the clip of me and Joe together, you can just see that it's like, oh, Joe is like, I need to find a way to work with this guy.
Of course. I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
It's still up on
Um,
the internet. It's not got many views, but it's
yeah.
still there.
You should when we're done, please send it to me. I'm
Okay.
serious. I would
Yeah,
love to see that.
it's
100%.
yeah.
What makes a comedy advice segment land with both new and experienced players?
Um, it's funny. I had somebody say to me with the character, Joey, nobody actually cares if your starts or sits hit. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think because the character was kind of oh shucks and kind of dumb luck, that you talked about credibility.
Yeah.
I think the fact that I wasn't out there planting flags and I was just being organic and I was being real is kind of what resonated with it.
Yeah.
Was that I
Yeah.
wasn't being cocky and arrogant. I was just like, hey, this is who I think I should start, and this is why. And I never, after an episode, went back and I was like, I was right. It was just very organic, just to say, here it is. and we're in this together. And I think that's kind of the best way to do it.
Agree. I lie. Yeah, I agree 100%. So, we all measure successes differently. How does Joey measure the success of a show beyond views or clicks?
I don't even want to say depend on the show. Um, I do not really care. I do care if people are watching the shows and stuff.
Yes.
If I go show my wife a clip and she laughs, that's all I need. Like and I
Oh,
totally mean that because I can make people laugh and I know how to do that. But if I can make her laugh, I know I did good. Um,
wow.
yeah, and like I know that sounds all like cheesy and stuff, and it
It's
kind of
not.
is, but um, like my kids too. If I can do a joke and my kids laugh, like my oldest daughter, she loves the Starts and Citations character. She likes watching the videos and stuff. Makes her laugh, so it makes me kind of want to do it. But my wife, like, I'll show her a joke, she doesn't laugh. I'm like, kind of eats at me. But if she kind
Oh,
of, she likes when I'm self-deprecating too. So when I make fun of myself, she like
yes.
maybe likes it more than she should, if I'm being honest. But when I make her laugh, that's the
That's so
best.
romantic. I love that, Joey. I love that. I love that you want their support and this is part of your journey.
Hmm.
Their support is so important to you. It's not cheesy. It's important to you. And
Well, I
I
didn't say
really
this.
love that.
I thank you so much. I didn't say this during the Rasball segment. The reason that it kicked off so well was
Yeah.
because the first video I made for them was me with my oldest daughter, and she was like 3 years old at the time, and I was filming her, and I was like, "Okay, honey, it's week 9, and Daddy's in first place in the Rasball. Is he gonna win?" And she's like, "Nope." And she just kept saying like, "Nope." I'm like, "Am I gonna crap the bed?" And she goes, "Yep." And they like, I need to find that video. It's so cute. But she's
Did
like,
you
"Nope, you're
win
not gonna
though?
win, Daddy." And I know I crapped the bed in the last round. She was
Oh my
exactly
God.
right. So
She
they
was
started calling,
right.
man, I forgot all about that. They would call her the Oracle because it was so cute. So yeah, I mean, like,
Oh wow. You should find that and show it
I
to
need to
her.
find that. It's probably out there somewhere. It's on Twitter. I know that for sure. That's where it originally launched.
Definitely. I still like my kids are 22, 20, and 17. And when I see their pictures when they were little, I send them to them. No, mom, no. Or they used to dance or something. That's super sweet.
Mm.
These
I'm
moments
at the
are
beginning of the
amazing.
journey. My kids are 9 and 6.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell me, what has been your most challenging live hosting moment and how did you recover of it?
Ooh. Um my most challenging live hosting moment. I'm very fortunate that I worked with Simon Grunewald for so long because he set the example for me to how to be a great host.
Nice.
I think I've been kind of lucky, to be honest. I don't know if I've had a super crazy challenge with hosting. There was Okay, yeah, there was one time, and it kind of became kind of infamous at Front Yard Fantasy, where I used the word pigeonhole, like hole, like a hole in the ground, but that's the actual phrase. But I thought the phrase was pigeonholed. And I was hosting the show and I was doing the game, and I put a question up, and I had pigeonholed in there, and all the other guests started laughing. And in that moment, I knew immediately, like, I've said something. Did I curse? Like, what's going on? And then they're like, "Wait, Joey, hang with me for a second. Tell us what you think pigeonhole means." And I realized they were all laughing at me. And it's different than when you tell a joke and everyone's laughing at you, but when they're laughing at you because of something you said that's stupid, um, it was immediately challenging because I had to make a decision in that moment. Am
Yes,
I going
agree.
to lean into it, or am
Laugh
I
it up.
going to kind of cower and just, and I leaned into it, and it was tough because, they got off the show though. And I apologized to everybody. I was like, "Guys, I'm sorry. That kind of dragged the show down." And they're like, "What are you talking about? That was the greatest thing." And that was because I was vulnerable in that moment. I didn't cower. I owned up to it. And yeah, it's a funny moment, but it was really, really embarrassing. A lot more than I want to lead on to. It's like, but then it turned into Joey doesn't know what things mean. And it became like a segment with Front Yard Fantasy. Like, well, what does
Love
this
it,
mean,
Joey.
Joey? And I was like, "Oh, okay." But, you know. That was the
Listen,
most
I had
challenging. I was
someone
hosting.
leave.
It's like my second time hosting too. Yeah.
I had someone leave to go to the bathroom, so you're good.
Oh,
You're still good. You're still good. I love these moments though because they teach us a lot. Like you're not waiting for it, and you
so
don't
they just
know
got
from
up
where they
and went
come.
and took a pee.
She's like, yeah, I need to go to the bathroom.
Well, I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go. I do know for a fact, and off camera, I'll tell you, I've got a list of probably at this point because I'm a nice guy, I like to think, but I keep a lot of blackmail in my little binders over here.
Oh my
I've
god.
got a list of like 10 people that have pooped or peed themselves on camera at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, I
And
can't.
it's some very popular names that people know. Just let it
Oh,
go on
I should
camera.
question
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Maybe the last question of the night, Joey. We will
I'll
see. We
tell
will
you
see.
one. I'll tell you
I'll
one.
get
Yeah,
I'll get something from you.
yeah.
How do you prep differently for trivia night live versus Sunday morning live?
Oh, okay. So this is great. If you would have asked me this question 3 months ago, I think there was a different answer. I have been fortunate. When the season started, I realized I have a lot going on in the season, so I need to get a helper. And I'm not just the helper, I wanted to co-host. So I brought Jake Bryant in with me to co-host trivia because him and I just had a really nice rapport. He was a little, I don't want to, and not in a bad way. He was a little more soft spoken. And for me hosting a show, I kind of need to be able to talk a little bit. And I was like, man, Jake and I, we've got a good banter, but he's not overpowering. And so I
Yeah,
brought Jake in, and now Jake, he's just as overpowering as I am. But being able to collaborate with him was what I was doing on Sunday mornings. Our graphics guy, Dylan, we would do the injury reports together. Um, so the preparation from a collaboration standpoint, I was always building something with somebody else, and I was not doing it by myself. The difference is, I think, with Sunday morning live, I'm definitely focused more on starts and sits. So it's a lot more information. I want to be transactional with it. With trivia, I'm definitely trying to entertain more. So I'm not trying to really be as funny on Sunday mornings. I want to get the injuries. I want to get what players need to start, who need to sit. But when I'm writing trivia on Tuesdays, I'm trying to find a way to make the question either funny or
yeah,
educational. And I'm building in between the segments, there's gaps where we have 45 seconds before an answer will come up. So we need to vamp. We need to have a conversation. And so they'll have like topics off to the side. So it's two very different shows. They're both live, but one's
true.
much more information based and the other one's kind of a lot more entertainment.
I love that. So Doug had to say that. So I'm not sure if you're old enough, Joey. Don't tell him that. But it sounds like a Calgon can take me away moment.
I might not be old enough for that.
So he's
Calgon,
not old
take me away. Yeah. Doug, it just didn't resonate with me. I don't know. Well, it's going to happen is I'm going to get off and I'll be like, now I
enough.
know.
I know. So tell me a little bit about the storytelling technique that help casual fans feel included.
Ooh. So I kind of covered it a little bit with
Yeah,
never, don't ever seem like you know it all. Always kind of feel like you're there. Oh man, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Um, my boss likes to talk about being a guide, that we're not the hero on the journey in this whole
nice.
space with everything. We're just helping to help you win a fantasy championship, you know. And I think if you go with that mindset, that we're not there to get all the glory, but we want to give you the glory. I think
Yeah,
that's the way to meet people, meet consumers, and make it feel organic and make them feel like they're not doing this alone. I could talk about doing shows that it's a collaboration. Look at your starts and sits and look at your fantasy advice as a collaboration with somebody that you're giving it to and not just a fact that you're throwing out there. I think that's a good way to do it.
do you have any rituals or something consistent that you do before going live every single time?
I've never been on a live stream. And if I have, it's been very few that I haven't had a cup of coffee. I always have coffee with me.
I love that.
The
I love
very
that.
first show I ever did, funny enough, it was Front Yard Fantasy. And I had you go back and watch it. My wife brought me Starbucks. So I got a Starbucks
Yeah.
cup in the middle of the show. I had a cup of coffee and I had a thermos of water. And then people started, because I didn't have a nice camera at that time, people started noticing how many cups does Joey have on his table? I get like a dry mouth when I'm talking too much, and I tend to talk a lot. So I always have to have something that I'm drinking, and it's 99 times out of 100, it's a cup of coffee with nothing else in it, and it's just coffee for all those people out there thinking there's something.
Black coffee?
I mean, there's cream in it. I'm saying there's no alcohol in the coffee.
No, no, black coffee for me. Black coffee,
Oh,
no
just
cream,
for you,
no
just
nothing,
black.
no.
Yeah, I should. I
Yeah.
mean, my belly will tell you I just need to drink black coffee,
Oh,
but they got all
stop.
these fun creamers like pumpkin spice and Italian was that Irish cream cold brew. Whew, mwah, it's the best.
I love Irish cream without the coffee, though. Without the
Ooh,
coffee, Joey.
okay, with some Bailey's.
So Doug is saying it's a detergent commercial from the 80s.
Okay, so I was born in the 80s. I don't remember that. I don't remember that one.
Doug, not everyone is our age. Shh, shh. Oh my God. So, what's a creative risk you want to try on a show next season?
What's a creative risk I want to try next year?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I want to do. I am good friends with Mauricio Gutierrez
Okay.
from NFL en Espanol, from NFL Mexico, now with ESPN. He's the voice of Red Zone on Sundays. He has wanted me to come on Estadio Fantasy. I don't really speak Spanish, but we think that I could give a starts and sits if I need to. I love that community that
Yes.
the um especially from Mexico, and that's who I've got to embrace and I've gotten to know so well, the Spanish speaking community for fantasy football through Mauricio. And we brought him into
Yes.
Football Guys, and he does an article in Espanol for us every week. I love that community so much, and they're so hungry. Oh my gosh, I ran the Football Guys Bowl this year, and I sent out a call to action because I needed some people to fill some leagues. And that Estadio fantasy community stepped up so big. I needed like 100 people. I had like 500 emails in a matter of 30 minutes.
Wow.
I love the community. I would like to go on Estadio fantasy and just try. Like I speak such a small amount of Spanish, but
Joey,
I
I
love
speak
that
French.
community so
Can
much.
I
I
go
think
with
that's a
you?
risk that but they all call me Jose Correcto, like Joey Wright, which I think is very cute. But they love me, like, and I love them, and they're great. And I think it's about time I paid off and I show up on camera for them and
I
just try to
love
struggle
it.
through it because God knows Mauricio's struggled through stuff for me. So
I love Mauricio. I was so happy when I saw the picture on next to ESPN, but I didn't know. So now that you're saying that he got that job, that's
yeah,
amazing.
I
I
don't want
love
to brag
that
too
for
much,
him.
but so Mauricio is one of I met him at Expo. He needed a ride back to the hotel. I did not know him at all. And I was like,
Yeah.
sure, I'm going back to the hotel. And that's how we met. And we became great friends. We have a standing call every other week where we just spend
Wow.
30 minutes together chatting and talking. He is one of my closest friends in this industry. And he has a heart that's bigger than mine. His wife, Emma, I love her just as much, if not more, than
I
Mauricio. She's
we
so
all love
great.
Emma
I
more
love
than
her.
Mauricio.
She is my
They're
pumpkin
both.
spice ride or die forever. I love
Yeah, they're
both of them so
both
much.
great people.
Um, yeah, like yeah, so
I
that's
I
something I
love
like to
that.
do. I like to do that Estadio fantasy and
I
brush up
love
on the
that. I
Spanish.
love that so much. And the expo like get you to meet a lot of great people and you connect on so many different levels.
Hmm.
And we are so blessed to know a lot of people from all over the industry, from all over the country. It's not just
Hmm.
like one place, like they come from all over. So this is something that Bob Long did a while ago, and it became a family to everybody.
Hmm.
We sit, we talk, we chat, we make good friends, and not just friends. It becomes like I said, like a family to us,
Yeah, I
and
mean
I love it.
my first night at the expo, at the Milestone, it's a board
Yeah.
game bar right there, right across from George's,
Yes.
and I sat across from Simon. And 3 years later, I'm sitting there at his wedding, watching him and JL stand up in front of everybody. And like I said, they're like my brothers. I love those guys.
Like I
And
can't wait right
all out
now
of
for
Expo.
JC's wedding. We can't wait for that.
Oh
We
yeah.
love you, JC. Yeah, I can see him doing this behind. Yes,
Mm,
next year. I
okay.
can't. I can. I'll do anything to be there. I'll do anything to be there. I'm so happy for both of them. So, this is like I said, we form a family. It's
Mhm.
totally different. different perspective.
That's
So,
totally.
Joey, what does voice mean to you, and how did you find yours?
I think I found my voice in specifically in this industry by failing a lot before I got here. Um, I was a film critic before I came into the fantasy football industry, which lends itself to think he would be very critical, not very
Yeah,
nice. I think people see me now and they're like, "Oh, Joey's such a nice guy." Well, it didn't necessarily always be that way. Um, I think my mistakes and failures early in life softened me up, made me learn stuff. Becoming a dad, I mean, you hear it so often and it sounds so cheesy, but like having kids really does kind of like soften you up. And just coming in humble,
yeah.
I think that's where I found my voice. I think I've said it a bunch here tonight. It's just like kind of meeting people at their level and never feeling like I was better than anyone else. I think that's kind of where I found my voice. And then I started doing a funny voice, and that seemed to resonate with people. So yeah. But,
I love how you share that. Like being parents, sometimes it humble us a lot, and I do believe that too.
yeah.
Um, so I want to like take a break from all of this because time is rushing, and you are such an amazing person. And but I want to know a little bit about Wicked. So,
Okay.
what
Talk about it.
inspired your article about Wicked using fantasy for team building?
Yeah, so attended a wedding with my wife, and I was in the Raz. It was that time when I was in the Raz Bowl, and sometimes when you go to weddings, you're not in it, but my wife was, and so I was doing a lot of standing off to the side, and another person in the wedding, one of the bridesmaids, brought her boyfriend at the time. They'd only been dating for like 4 months. Now they're married, and so him and I just kind of stood off on the side and didn't really know each other that well. I had heard the first night that they were on. He had been in a few Broadway like tours, and so I talked to him about that a little bit. And then I just kind of pulled out my phone. I was like, I need to check something. And he goes, "Were you looking at your fantasy lineup?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh my god, I love fantasy football." And then we just kind of connected over that. And then a few years later, I was going to New York, and at this time, him and his wife Celia, his name's Travis Tabor, they're both in the company of Wicked now. They had joined the company in New York, and I was like, "Hey man, would you like want to grab a drink afterwards?" He's like, "Absolutely." And we just hung out that night in New York.
Wow.
And so that fun night after the show, I think I went and saw, what did I see that night? I saw Sweeney Todd with my little sister. We went and saw Sweeney Todd off Broadway. Josh Groban was in it. And
Yeah.
so hung out with Travis that night. And I said, "Yeah, man, let's stay in touch." We did. And then ended up joining a fantasy football league. And he brought a few of his buddies. And then through those conversations in the chat, I started hearing how, like, oh no, there's like stagehands and lighting guys and people on other tours and other shows that are all playing fantasy football. And it's kind of like this little thread through the Broadway community for some of the guys and some of the ladies too. And I was like, that's so interesting. And then so the next year, I got to meet up with a couple other of the guys. And then I was like, you know what? I need to write an article. I need to kind of write about this. And so I did an interview with three of them, and they're all on a dynasty league together. And yeah, it's so cool too because I was such a theater kid, and I
Wow, that's
auditioned for so many years and really never got anything. I did some like local stuff, but never really hit anything. And there's that dream of when you're in theater, like, oh, I'll get into New York and get to go on Broadway. And I actually got to live that dream this last summer. Met up with the guys after the show, like we were always do. This is our third year now that we've met up for drinks, and they were like, "Hey, Joey," because they gave me tickets to see Wicked for the first time because I went on a Thursday.
yes.
Which, listen, getting tickets to Wicked for free are really tough, and I'm very fortunate. And it was a single ticket on a Thursday night, so don't hit me up because I can't get them any other time. But they're like, "Yeah, come meet us at the stage door, and we'll walk over to the bar afterwards." I'm like, "Cool, great." So I get to the stage door, and they're like, "Hey, Joey, come here real quick," and they bring me in. They brought me on stage. I got to see the dressing rooms. I got to go stand on. I took pictures on stage. I got to play with the Oz puppet.
Oh my
I got to see
God.
Dorothy's bucket. I got to do so many cool things that you wouldn't normally get to do. And just because like built those friendships with the guys. Yeah, like
That's such an
I'm so
amazing
thankful that
story.
yeah, I was talking with one of them. I was um so today all I've been doing the last 2 days is locking people out of the Football Guys Bowl that didn't make the playoffs. And one of the wicked guys is in Football Guys Bowl. but I'm not allowed to say which league he's in. But he finished first in his division, and I didn't block him out, and so I sent him a message about it. But those guys are the best. If you're in New York, go see Wicked. Matthew Farcher, Dan Gleason, and Travis Tabor. And then Travis's wife, Celia Hottenstein, was Glinda on tour for 18 months. And she goes on
Wow,
like twice a week, I think, or no, twice a month. She'll be on Broadway, and she'll go on as Glinda in the bubble. And so when I went to
that's
see them that
amazing.
night, when I saw them, they were on stage. It was the coolest thing. Yeah,
It
love
is.
those guys.
Are you kidding? That's such an amazing story to
Yeah.
share. I love that. So, what parallels do you see between ensemble theater and fantasy leagues?
Ooh, characters. Um,
Yeah,
a good
why?
fantasy league. If you're in a good show, one man shows are really tough to see a good. There are good ones, but if there's just one personality or one driving force in it, it's kind of one dimensional show, you would think. But when you've got a lot of great characters, a lot of great stories going on in the leagues, that's what creates a great league. And so I think theater is a lot like a good fantasy league in that way with the characters.
Yeah, so I know that you've been a theater kid
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of your younger years and stuff like that. How did it shape your on-camera presence, especially that you do a lot of like hosting and stuff like that? How did being a theater kid shape that in you, Joey?
They couldn't be any different. I'm being dead honest. Like
Yeah,
I other than the anxiety, I get crippling stage fright when I'm in a show.
yeah,
And huge shout out to my theater teacher who ended up being the officiant in my wedding, James Brendinger. Figured out very quickly with Joey. If you give Joey something funny to say in the beginning, he gets really comfortable and he starts to really like open up.
yeah.
But if he doesn't have like a one liner or something to say in the beginning, he gets a little nervous. He gets a little jittery. He's not himself really. So the difference between being on camera, I don't I'm not sure if JL and Simon learned that quickly, but I would kind of push it out there a little bit. I would try to say something funny to get the chat laughing or get them to laugh, and then I would settle in to be comfortable. That's how they're the same. But um I like tonight I'm on here with you and I'm comfortable, but I was like coming into the room, I was like a little nervous. So when you did the intro and I didn't get to talk for a little bit, I was a little jittery. You can kind of probably see it. And then I got to talk and I said something funny, and or at least I thought it was funny. I don't know if it was funny.
It is
And then
funny.
I opened up a little bit, and now you got bubbly Joey. But in the beginning, Joey was a little quiet. But on
So,
stage, like I have to say something funny, or
yeah.
I'm really uncomfortable.
Wow. Wow. That's something good to know about you. So if you are going to do the intro for the Game Changers in a funny way, in a Joey way, how would your intro be?
Oh my gosh, put me on the spot. You know,
Sorry.
I liked the intro music that we had. Um,
Yes.
Something that I like to do with intro music is kind of turn it a little bit. So like everybody's expecting the same musical intro. Either I would
Yes.
interrupt it and interject a joke, leave the once the intro's done. Another thing I would do is pretend like I don't know that we're rolling and say something I probably shouldn't say. I'm like, oh, so I would probably do something like that. Put me on the spot.
I love that. I love that, Joey. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
do something like that at some point.
It's
I
never
don't know.
better. Let me tell you like a great joke to pull when you're like, okay, we're gonna end the show, and you have outro music, and you
Yes.
don't end when you should, and you just let it roll over till people are just staring camera. It's never not funny. It's always good.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that so much, Joey. See, you can be yourself in this show too. How would you design a fantasy league themed around Broadway casts?
Ooh, we have one. So I can tell you, I'm in a league that we all join, like a dynasty league that with some friends and whatnot.
Yes.
But we have a league that we're in, and there's two guys from Wicked. But other than that, there's a guy from a one person from individual shows, other shows.
Yeah.
So we've got a guy from Lion King, two from Wicked, one from Moulin Rouge. I'm trying to remember I can't remember all the shows, but we have like one representation of each Broadway show. Either it's a cast member or it's somebody in the crew, or they're
Wow.
on tour. Like one of the guys, they were touring with Mamma Mia, and now they're on Broadway with Mamma Mia. But yeah, it's kind of fun, like having one from each show. And then
Well,
me,
I'm sticking
just a
with
fantasy
you,
guy.
Joey. I'm sticking with you. I want to meet up all these people at some point. So
I mean,
wherever you're going, I'm going.
they're
Sorry,
nice.
wife. Wherever you're going, I'm going, Joey.
So,
Which director would you trust to shoot a fantasy football documentary?
so I have to pick one director, film director, to shoot a fantasy football documentary.
Yeah,
Um, see, this is a good question because my brain is just like, I don't want to just like throw like a like Scorsese or something out there. I'm gonna throw a director that not a lot of people probably would think of.
yeah,
His name is Ron Shelton. And Ron Shelton didn't make a lot of good movies, but he had one lane that he stuck in. He made really good sports movies. He made Bull Durham. He made Tin Cup. Ron Shelton can direct the heck out of a sports movie. Because of that, I would think he would do good with a fantasy football documentary.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. How would you pitch? How would you pitch fantasy football to a Broadway audience?
With shiny vests. No. Yeah, oh man, how would you pitch? This is a great question. A lot of times you'll go do a show and they'll tell you what they're going to ask you beforehand, and that's all
Yes,
fine and dandy. But it's fun to be put on the spot because you give organic
yes.
answers. You know what you're doing here. I'm vamping. That's what I'm doing right now. How would um, I really don't know. I don't like. How would I pitch fantasy football to a Broadway audience?
Maybe
You
you
know
can
what?
start with
Actually, I
something
do. I
funny.
do. I would write that there's a company right now that's doing a really cool things with Dungeons and Dragons, where they're doing
Yes,
a whole campaign on stage and they're bringing comedy into it. It'd probably be kind of like what I'm doing now, just put it on stage. So find a way to have characters in a fantasy football league that are all interacting. They would have songs and they would tell one story, but the focus is they're all there for fantasy football. That's how I would do it. Whew. Did I BS to that? Yes, I did.
yes.
It's true. That's probably what I would do. But
I love that. Joey, there's a lot
yeah.
of disagreement and there's a lot of heated debates in fantasy football, as we
Mhm.
all know. So, how Joey Wright handle those disagreements or heated debates in a way that can be constructive and not being, negative
Yeah,
at some point?
so there it's two-tiered. I don't mind debate, respectful debate,
Yes,
where everyone's meeting on the same level, they're being kind, courteous to each other. But if you're getting to trolling or you're borderline on trolling, it's incredible what the mute button does. Because when you
yes,
mute something, you never see it again unless you search out for it. So mute and move on. It's the
I
easiest
agree.
thing you can do. And you're that it's so quickly you will forget about the trolls. So quickly. They might not forget about you, but you don't have to see it. But respectful debate, just have a conversation. I don't even like calling it debate. You don't see
Yes,
me do a lot of debate style shows. There's people out there that enjoy doing that. I don't. I'll get on a show and talk through something and have a nice, respectful conversation. But
yes,
I actually kind of avoid the debate. And then the trolling, I don't avoid it. I just silence it.
yes.
Yeah.
How do you uplift emerging creators without tokenizing them?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, some advice that I was given early in the industry is find your differentiator.
Yeah.
And last year, I wish I'd have done it more this year. And I kind of, this is something I actually do feel bad about in the industry. Last year, I took a lot of meetings because I wanted to give back. So a
Yes.
lot of one-on-one meetings with new content creators that were just getting in. And I would never really ask them about their fantasy football skills because that's not how I got a job in the industry. Not really with my fantasy football. I mean, I flex them a little bit, but really it's like, what are you good at in your day to day? Like what you do every day. Like, what is it that you're good at? Okay, take that and find a way to apply it to a fantasy company and be valuable. So that's how I would talk to them.
I love that. So we were talking at the beginning about Scotfish, and I want to talk more about the stuff that Scotfish is doing in the industry,
Yeah.
because I know that this week they're going to. I'm seeing a lot of pictures right now. They're collecting the gifts from
Mhm.
people. They're buying the gifts from people for Toys for Tots.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about your role with Scotfish and Fantasy Cares.
So I do a one of the things I do with Fantasy Cares is I do the Tuesday night trivia. That's in partnership with them. That's football guys and Fantasy Cares do that together. But I also do go out and I help with the Scott Fishbowl drafts. I have for some years now, and a lot of people do that, so I'm not unique in that. I got to go out and help with Vegas this year. Got to help with Chicago, and you know what I have learned is through my skills is just being a good host. On camera, I think I've turned into a good host, but in
Yeah,
person, making people feel welcome, being a good presence when you go somewhere, and just being welcoming to others. Scott likes
agree.
having that around at the drafts of someone that's going to go up and say hi to everybody and make them feel included. And that's kind of honestly my role with Fantasy Cares. I'm not part of Fantasy Cares other than I like to collaborate with them and I like to support them and help them. So yeah, I'll usually go to about 2 drafts a year and help out. And just this year I went to Chicago and I helped the check-in process. I ran that. Steven Johnson did an incredible job getting everything lined up. And I was just there really in support of him and handing people their
Yeah,
badges. And we had a great little system going there. Joel Cox from CBS was helping out. Um,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I know that a lot of great people do great stuff in the industry, and Scotfish is really helpful. And like I contacted him honestly because I had the Operation Elf. They do as well for soldiers that they are overseas. They collect a lot of toys for their kids and stuff like that. And he was like on the spot trying to help out and do whatever he can so he can put his time and all the informations needed for them as well. So kudos for all that you do, you guys. I love helping out in Boston. Hopefully, I'll help out more somewhere else at some point. But yeah, I love being part of this industry a lot.
It,
Even JC is helping as well. I think in Chicago, right? In
yeah,
no, not
I saw,
Chicago.
I believe I saw JC in Chicago this last summer. Yep.
Not Chicago. No, he
No,
is
not
in
Chicago.
somewhere else. No, not Chicago. Oh my God,
Somewhere.
I forgot where. But yeah, he was helping. He did the this year. He was helping out with the. He will write it down for sure
He
for
will.
us.
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, like everybody comes together. Yeah, with Scott. So he was with him there. Scott didn't come to Boston this year, but hopefully next year he will be. All of you guys are making a difference in this industry, and I'm proud to be part of it as well. So that's just amazing energy. That's what we need, right?
I
With the
agree.
chaotic
Oh
world,
yeah.
this is what we need. This is what we need. So let's continue a little bit about new players, and I want to know how can you help them jump from casual to competitive confident like confidence. How can you help do that for new players?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just if I had somebody that was coming in new to play fantasy, I would
Yes,
maybe gauge what their level of knowledge was with either fantasy football or just football in general. I think most people when they come into fantasy football, the first thing they ever do is a redraft league. Just their first time, like, standard 12-person league. Um, if I found that somebody enjoyed college football more, I would definitely push them more towards dynasty or maybe even Devi. Uh,
yeah,
I kind of talked about what are you good at outside of if you were trying to get a job, like what are you good at in your normal day to day? Focus on that, find a way to make that valuable. Well, going forward a couple steps, like what are you good at when it comes to football? If you're good at knowing who these rookie scouts are, who these young players are, play a format that leans to that. Um, if you are more like a redraft person, kind of go towards that. I think to help a new person find success, I would kind of nudge them in the direction of where I think they would be most successful.
Nice. What's one community story that stayed with you personally and you will
Hmm.
always remember it?
One community story that's always stayed with me. Is it be a personal one?
Can be anything. It can be personal if you want to.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. You know, I guess I hate to say the one about myself, but the first time, and this is just a good example, that I met kind of like a big analyst in the industry. And I'm going to leave their
Yeah.
name out of it because they don't like when I say their name. But he
Okay.
was somebody that I listened to, kind of learn how I learned how to play the game. I was listening to this guy every day when I worked at Barnes Noble in the receiving room. I would go do my receiving once the podcast, I'm not going to say the name of the podcast, would download. And I'd go in the back, I'd listen to it. And that's where I got my fantasy knowledge. I had an opportunity to meet that person. And instead of big timing me and just shaking my hand saying, "Hi, how are you doing?" I walked up to him. They were in the King's Classic, and he introduced me to everyone in the circle. And that day I met who I work with on a daily basis now, Bob Harris. I met Mike Clay. All these big time. I think I met Doug actually that day, to be honest with you. There was a circle of very well known analysts. And then that person
Yes.
said, "Hey, let's take a walk," and gave me some incredible advice, spent time with me, and just was a genuine nice person. And that has always stayed with me to a point where 2 years later, I was at the expo and somebody came up to me and said, "Oh man, I wanted to meet this guy. Since I was younger, like learning how to play fantasy." And it was like, that was me a few years ago. And I was like,
Wow.
let me make the introduction for you. I was like, I'll take it over. And that's something that I kind of learned from Scott, but I had the opportunity to give back. But I'll never forget that analyst just taking the time to just, how are you? Who are you? Let me introduce you to some people. You're wanting to get started in the industry. Let me help you get that foot forward. And I'll just never forget that and always try to pay it forward on that.
I
So
love it. I
I
love
hate that it
it.
was about myself. I wish I could have said something nice about,
No,
I
I
guess I
mean,
did think some nice about somebody else, but yeah.
this is something amazing because my next question is going to be, what would community excellence look like in fantasy 5 years from now after you told that story?
Um, Community excellence in
Yeah.
fantasy football. I think I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's already being done, and I think it's just going to get more excellent. I think you're seeing these hives, and I mean the hive in a good way, whether it
Yes.
be the Expo or the Scott Fish Bowl, where there's
True.
these opportunities where people have a chance to get together with this common goal of fantasy football. And it used to be, maybe people would get together in Las Vegas and they were in a paid league, and those are great. Those are awesome. I love those. I'm participating in some of them. But
Yeah.
there's these really organic, like home league feels where people are just getting together because they love fantasy football and building community through that. This is the first year that I want to say that I felt like people were dabbling less in different formats and they were starting to build their own communities. You've seen the best ball community really stand out in this, where they have
Yes.
their own subset of fantasy football. In a lot of ways, they'll say, "We play best ball." They rarely say, "Do they play fantasy football?" because they've built this huge, incredible community in best ball. I'm seeing the same thing in Debbie. I'm seeing it in IDP. I'm seeing these communities within communities establish themselves all in the name of fantasy football or their format. I think that's what community excellence looks like. And then you have fantasy football in the name of charity.
Yes.
There's these hives popping up, and I think these hives are the best communities they can possibly be because they're all connected too. So yeah.
I agree. I agree. I love that, Joey. I don't want to finish that, but I want to be respectful for your time because you're going to Scottfish show
They
as well
If you
in
need me
some
for longer, I
time.
just pop in whenever I want with those guys. They don't.
Yes, but
It's
I
not a
do still have some questions, and
go. Let's
these are
go.
kind of like personal questions
Mhm.
for you. So,
Yes,
what's the core value that guides your decision in this industry?
my core value is community a core value. I think it is.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that I mentioned I was a unicorn in this industry.
Yes.
because I am an analyst. I do rankings and I do projections and I do starts and I do all of that. I look at tape and I look at numbers, all that. But my focus, Joe Bryant tells me every day, he goes, I want you waking up thinking, how can I do this with the lens of community? So I think my driving force every day, my core value is community, finding ways to bring people together in the name of fantasy football. I mentioned the hives, and I want to be a part of that. Like, so yeah,
That's
community is
crazy.
definitely, I want, like, being in the chat is like my favorite thing in the world. Like, I will just, on a Tuesday night, I will just like, hey, let's see who's got a show tonight, and just go in, and I like to disrupt a little bit, which is, I think it's okay because I'm there, I've done it to you many of times. I
Yes.
go in there, say a couple things, but I just like supporting everybody. I like everybody having a good time. And
I
because I've
love
had
that.
such a good time, this community's given me so much. This industry
Yeah,
has given me so much. I want people to enjoy life. And this is such a fun thing that we get to do.
agree 100%. In a word that there's no kindness, be kind, period.
Mhm.
Be kind to
Yep.
people.
Costs
So
nothing to be kind.
you're saying you're a unicorn. Do you go to the pony club?
Oh, are we going to talk about Chapel Roan right now? Like, I am so ready to talk about my queen. Let's talk about her. No, like, all the love in the world of Simon Grunewald. I was going to see Olivia Rodrigo,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, the opening act is Chapel Roan," and Simon lost it. He's like, "Oh my god, I love Chapel Roan." So I downloaded a few of her songs, and we are obsessed in this household. And I know that I have a 6-year-old daughter and I should not let her listen to Hot to Go. And I know I'm probably a bad parent for doing it, but by God, my kid knows every word of Hot to Go. They had like a fun run the other day and they played Hot to Go. And my kid is the one doing the HOTTOGO. And they're
Yes.
looking at me. I'm like, I really don't care. I'm bonding with my child. I love Chapel Roan. I love how sassy she is. I
Yeah.
like that she doesn't give a what. She'll call out a photographer if they're being rude to her. And
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with somebody when I was in Vegas, and they're like, Joey, you're such a nice guy, but boy, do you like problematic people. And, I think Chapel Roan would be the first person to admit that she's a little problematic. If being upfront and bold is problematic, so be it. But yeah, if that's where you were going with that, the Pink Pony Club, like, yeah, we can talk some Chapel Roan if we need to.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
not ashamed
teaching
of it
your
either.
girls,
Love her.
no, no, no. Teaching your girls to be themselves in front of you,
Yeah,
that's the most important thing because they need to have that dad that show them,
yeah,
who they really need to be in case they want to go in life with, their significant other.
yeah.
So that's for me, it's like head down for you.
Thank you.
And how does being a husband and a dad influence your approach to this community?
I mean, I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
I honestly, it puts food on the I'm fortunate that it puts food on the table. So I get to do this as a job. Um,
Yes.
Without them, I couldn't do it. So I always try to involve them as much as possible. Like my kids both play in a league and I kind of show them that. But
Cool.
I really the hardest thing in this industry, I think, is like giving the proper amount of time to your kids. And I'm lucky I have a boss that he really tries to make sure that I spend as much time with my kids as possible during the football season and stuff. But I'll let them sleep on the couch on Thursday nights and watch football with me. They don't have school the next day on Friday. Um, yeah, it's tough because I think they get the short end of the stick a lot. If I'm being completely honest, especially my wife. Like I talked that I've gone to Chicago and I've gone to Las Vegas. I go to New York. I go to Ohio, and she's at home with the kids. And so, like, any analyst or industry person that says that they do it by themselves is full of poop. So
No,
it takes a team. And so I just try
it's
to
a
involve them
team.
as much as possible.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And it's so important to have a supporting system in your home so
Mhm.
you can be successful. And I love that for you, Joey. That's amazing. What's one thing you wish you would known before hosting something live?
It's okay to mess up. Um, if anything, it just makes you more relatable. But
Yeah,
it, being polished is great. Being prepared is fantastic. But if you flub a word and it doesn't need to be perfect. Um, you're doing a great job here tonight, and in many ways you are perfect. But being able to have a conversation with you and just hanging out is like, I wish I'd have known that that's okay. That I don't need to be so stiff and rigid. That you can just kind of, have a conversation and it just kind of
I
flow, and that'd be good.
thank you for that voice of confidence in me. But you know that I never listen back to any of my podcasts because if I
Really,
listen to my voice and my twisted tongue at times, Joey, I don't think I will continue. So no,
I
I'm
don't
not that
know what
perfect either.
I don't know what this says about me, but especially in the beginning, I listen back to my stuff a lot. Um, and
That's
I'm not
good.
saying you should do that. I'm saying like
I'm sure.
that's weird that you not weird. It's different that you don't do that because I feel like I would do that a lot, and maybe I shouldn't have because then I would like hone in on. Um,
Yeah, I don't. I can't.
okay,
Uh,
fair.
what's the kindest thing a fan has done for you or the community
The kindest thing a fan has done for me.
or
Do
the
I have any
community? Yeah,
fans? You know
of
what?
course you do.
Sniper Mel sent me a trivia pack to my house one time. That was really
Yes.
kind. No, I'm gonna shout out somebody. I've not name dropped a lot tonight. Um,
Yeah.
I went to my first FSGA and I met Liz Loza, which was really cool.
Yes.
And I waited a long time to ask her to come on a show to do a game show with me. And it was my birthday show, so I definitely used my birthday as an excuse to get her to come on.
Nice.
And the sweetest thing she did, she sent me cupcakes for my birthday before the show.
Wow.
It was really
That's
nice.
so
Um,
cool.
so I'm not saying Liz Loza is a fan of mine because I wouldn't say that.
No, but
But that was
still,
something kind somebody did. Yeah, like Sniper Mel sent me something one time. Scampers. Um,
Mel
I
did the
dressed up as
same to me
Scampers for
too.
Halloween. I don't like to think that there are fans out there of mine. I like to just think that there are people that I hang out with, and that
You
people
have a
that
lot of fans.
enjoy. Nah, they enjoy what I do, and I enjoy that they're being there because you know, especially the starts and salutations. Like I would get people
Yeah.
like do the voice, like,
Yes.
but it was just nice that people cared. You know,
I love that. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
just be nice people.
What legacy do you hope your work leaves in fantasy media?
Oh, that's a great question. I think if I were to like, get abducted by aliens, because I don't want to die. I want to go somewhere else, if I
Yeah.
were to get beamed up right now, I would hope that they would just there's this quote from the British office, which is far superior to the American office. Come at me, I don't care. There's only 12 episodes, there was never a bad episode. Where David Brent said, I just want to be remembered as the person that put a smile on the face of everyone he met. That
Yes.
always stuck with me. And I think that would be one of my legacy is like,
Me too.
I don't care if people see me as the best analyst. I would love for people to be like, you know what? Joey was the most fun person to play fantasy football with. He was just fun. He was just nice to have around. Because for me, that's the spirit of fantasy football. Like you can take the pee out of your friends, and give them a hard time. But it's for me, man, it's all about having a good time. And winning is fun and it's great. And in many ways, it's everything. But it's not.
It's not
It's not
everything.
everything. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Sometimes it feels like right now I'm in my home league and it's been 12 years since I've won the championship. Right now, winning is everything for that specific league. But those are my best friends in the world. I'm going to see them on Saturday. Our kids have grown up together. Like that's what it's all about.
You're the goat, Joey. You're the goat tonight. I love
The
that.
thing is, I can't win my home league. I can't. I can win all
Really?
these other leagues, but I can't win my own home league. That's so infuriating.
We love you too, Cindy. Thank you for being here
Thank you,
tonight.
Cindy.
Thank you for everybody for being here tonight. We really love you and appreciate you. Joey, before I end the show,
Hmm.
I really don't want to end it, but it's gonna come to an end. I do have one more questions for
Yes.
you. So I do ask all my guests
Hmm.
that question, and my question is, what secret or what's something that you did maybe at an early age, but you never have spoken to anybody with that? and you want to share it on the show tonight.
I was a perfect child. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, it looks like
No, I
it.
was a bad kid. No, I mean, let's see. What did I do that I've never told anybody? The thing is, I'm an open book. I don't really hold a lot of secrets. Um,
Ah,
I okay. So when I met my wife, I don't remember the first time I met her. I remember the first time that I saw her, but she says we met each other once before.
uh-huh.
Okay. So I do remember that. But I was dating somebody else at the time. I went and asked about her to her friends that ended up working with her at a different restaurant to find out if she was like somebody I'd want to like see.
Oh,
So then when
wow.
I went in to meet her, which I'd already supposedly met her, but I say I don't remember, I'd gotten the intel I needed to know that I wanted to like try to charm her. But she didn't buy it at all in the beginning. Like it took her 4 months to go on a date with me, which I know I look like
Wow.
this now, but when I was 21, like I had long blonde hair. I was a mess. I was like, oh, watch out. And she just didn't bite. She was not having it. She's like, this guy's he's full of himself, and she humbled me a lot. So yeah.
I love that. I love this story. Joey, thank you so much. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
our
me.
time together tonight.
Yeah.
But before I wrap up,
Mhm.
please tell everybody the best ways to connect with you online or where they can follow your work, maybe your podcasts and the trivia stuff that you do. Share it with us tonight.
It's really simple. Everything I do is over at footballguys.com. On Tuesday nights, we do a trivia show. Jake Bryant and myself, Trivia Night Live, in partnership with Fantasy Cares. On Sunday mornings, we do a start and sit show from 11 a.m. till noon called not starts and citations. That's something else. Called Sunday Morning Live. And we answer all your starts and sits there. And do I have another show? Yes, I have the Home League show with Kevin Murray. We're doing a show all about your home league settings, commissioner tips, all kinds of great things. That drops on Mondays around 4 o'clock. It's in podcast form and on YouTube. So that's all I have going on right now. But you can find me on Twitter at DJoeyWright or in the Football Guys Discord. Yeah, I'm around. I'm pretty easy to talk to. Like, don't ever, if you ever want to send me a DM, don't hesitate. Like, I'll answer it pretty much that day. Um, I'm nothing special. Like, I'm just like you
You
guys.
are super
No, no,
special.
no, no. But I mean, like, I'm not. Don't be intimidated. Like, if we see each other in Canton, I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, I was nervous to talk to you," which I think is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Just come say hello to me, please. Don't
Come
make
say
it weird.
hello.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, I love that. I can't wait to see you this year, hopefully in Canton as well,
I'll be
Joey.
there. They're moving it to
Yes.
July. How
Yes,
about that?
I know. It's
How
earlier
about that?
this year, which is
Yeah,
really great. So
good.
I cannot wait to see everybody. It's such an amazing gathering that we wait for every single year. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and you're such an amazing personality.
Oh,
And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing
oh,
what
thank
you're
you so
doing.
much.
Thank you all for joining me on this episode of the Game Changers. If today's conversation gave you a fresh perspective on fantasy football or the game of life, do me a favor, drop a comment with your biggest takeaway and a question to answer you at some point. I will read them all and answer them for you as well. So mark your calendar and join me next Wednesday with Jamie Rashal. So if you met Jamie at the expo, you know how good his drawings are for more game changing conversations next week. I want to say a big thank you for JC for his behind the scene magic and the powerhouse team of TSA for making this platform possible for me. If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a review, and follow us on social media. Check out the show notes and links as well. Until next time, keep challenging the game and making your mark. This is Carla and Joey signing off. Thank you so much. Have a good night.